Welcome to the Christian Contractor Podcast.
Christian Contractor Podcast.
A show created for kingdom-driven Christian contractors that are focused on scaling their business in God's name while positively impacting the world around them. If you're ready to ascend from a contractor to a purpose-driven business owner, we're here to serve you. Here's your host, Brandon Guthrie.
Roofer's most important tool, and it might not be what you think. What's up? I'm Brandon Guthrie with Dream Design Labs on the Christian Contractor Podcast, where it's our mission to help Christian contractors bring the passion and purpose back into their business and scale it in the name of God so that we can positively impact the world through the abundance we create together. Thanks for tuning in. I'm super excited to have Zach Armstrong with Scope Technologies with me today. Zach, welcome and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brandon. Super excited.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, we were just talking about how some severe weather just hit the country, and I know we got a lot on the roster to get to today. So I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, likewise.
Awesome, brother. So let's open up in a quick prayer if you don't mind.
Of course.
Awesome. Dear Jesus, I pray that you be here with us right now, that you be in the minds and the hearts of our listeners, that as we approach business and life and severe weather and hailstorms, that we approach it with a sincere, genuine spirit of serving our homeowners. That the goal is that in these severe weather events, that we are the saving grace for many homeowners. It's our moral obligation to serve them properly so that they don't work with somebody that's going to actually take advantage of them. I just pray that you'd put that in our hearts, that it would be received by homeowners and felt because we are being genuine, that we are there to serve them, that we're putting them before ourselves. And just thank you for my brother Zach that I have here today. Super excited. And in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I am. Okay. Awesome, brother. So before we jump into the magic, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us the story behind Scope Technologies, how it started, what shaped it, and where it stands today.
Yeah, awesome. So a little bit about myself. Formerly, I was a contractor. Ran a company for 6 years that ultimately ended with the onset of COVID. COVID had impacts all across everything, and unfortunately, my business was one of them. And Scope Technologies was also born out of a contracting business. Our CEO and founder is a contractor, and back in 2011, kind of in the early days of aerial measurements, he just wasn't getting what he needed from other providers in the space. So everybody was kind of developing at that time, and he jumped in and started developing Scope Technologies. Our flagship product, RoofScope, launched in 2015. And then since then, we have become a total solutions provider. So we provide aerial measurements and measurements from blueprints as well for roof, gutters, siding, paint, insulation, and concrete. And we just do things a little bit differently. So, everybody else is leaning on, AI is the future. Most technology companies have some sort of talk track around, AI can help you do this, AI can help you do this. And we're sitting here saying, there's still power in having humans. And so because we actually, we have CAD technicians on staff. We've got over 300 of them working 24/7, 365 days a year. Every report that's ordered by a contractor is analyzed, reviewed, and traced out and drawn by a human. We boast the widest geographic coverage, and that really kind of elevates us above other providers in the space because we are able to deliver accurate measurements every single time.
So powerful, so powerful. And that kind of leads me into the next segment perfectly, which is let's talk about this anti-AI talk. Tell me a little bit about for those that are living under a rock and don't know a lot about Scope Technologies yet, and how you're different from the AI solutions. And now I heard this in the space, so true, is experts are more important than ever because now there's so many new technologies and apps that are popping up from people that can vibe code something together and they say it's going to be accurate, and it's leveraging AI for its results. talk to us about what makes RoofScope and Scope technologies different and much more accurate than relying on some technology that might hallucinate and makes its best guess rather than an actual accurate answer.
Yeah, no, great question. So, AI at its core is an algorithm. It's code. And so at some point in that code, you have to set a limit of we need to be able to see this much of the structure. And if let's call it 5% is obstructed, the code has to have a fail code in it, which says, sorry, we can't measure this because AI cannot deduce yet. It can't make assumptions. It is very much so, a response to what it's given. And people are doing it all the time. You can go on, Google and look up, funny interactions with ChatGPT, for example, and people are tricking AI, just everyday people. So we, as contractors, we need measurements. If you're going to bid a job, you need to know how big the roof is. You need to know how big how much siding is going to be there. Now, it's even more important when you start ordering materials. It's one thing to get in the ballpark. It's another thing when you've got thousands of dollars of materials showing up to a homeowner's house. A lot of times when you're not there, it's being loaded on the roof, and hopefully you got enough. Otherwise, it's either going to slow down the completion of the job, or homeowners going to wonder why they paid for 3 extra squares of material that you're returning. So where humans come into play is, again, we've got 300 certified CAD technicians. These are engineers that are looking at these projects. So we are using aerial imagery that's going to be taken from an airplane. And then we are using a variety of different imagery databases, which allows our CAD techs to, when they come in contact or when they come across a roof that may have a large tree over it, let's start looking at different images. Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's look at different sources, and let's compile one image that we can trace and draw an accurate depiction of the project. And then the really cool thing is aerial measurements, we can only get so accurate. Occasionally, there's going to be a mistake. And with any of our competitors, it's really hard to tell that highly specific coded algorithm do it differently in this case. That opportunity doesn't really present itself.
Mm.
With a human, if we ever do make a mistake, send it back to us. We offer a free rework program, and we are able to actually make edits to the report. We guarantee we are able to deliver these back in about hour and a half on average. So very rare circumstance, but it is a nice kind of fallback that, hey, what we deliver the first time doesn't necessarily have to be one and done. You're working with humans, and with humans comes that extra level of service that we can provide and really help get contractors the most accurate measurement reports the most consistently.
So powerful. We're certified CAD techs, 300 of them at your disposal. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
for roofers that aren't doing this right now, where do you see the biggest benefit, like the biggest case study use benefit that they're not doing it? Maybe they're getting a lead, they're going out in person, they're measuring, and then they're, maybe even obviously, hopefully pitching
Yeah.
and closing some projects. In that workflow, how can RoofScope or Scope technologies impact that process?
Totally. I mean, at this point, I would say, it's 2026. Most guys and gals are utilizing some type of measurement service. There's only a few times I hear contractors say, we go out and hand measure, and those times are when their current provider fails to deliver either an accurate report or just simply declines to deliver a report at all, and they think that they don't have another solution. And that solution is RoofScope, Scope Technologies. And of course, what I always tell people is if your truck doesn't start 2 days out of the week, if your nail gun stops pushing air fast enough to put nails into the roof, and if your crew's not showing up, all these things are aspects of a streamlined business, and streamlined means profit. So the less back and forth we have to do, the more jobs we could do. We increase our capacity. And so if your measurement provider is failing, even if it's one report a week, it's too many times. It's time to look at something new. Like I said, we've got less than a 1% decline in measure rate. We cover all of North America. That includes Canada, even the most tree covered and rural areas. We've got imagery and we've got the ability to deliver a report. So the use case here is, you know, we are providing a measurement report. It is more accurate than the others, but it is also delivering more consistent. It is a tool that works when you need it to work so that you can run your workflow, run your sales cycle, and not have a back and forth that ultimately sends ripples downstream. If you come in the morning and you've got a decline to measure email, and that homeowner was expecting a quote today, what do you do? Now that homeowner says, well, are you the contractor I want to use? And then you maybe rush it, maybe you go out there and hand measure it, but the other three contractors that put a bid in somehow got a measurement report. So it's a streamline of operations, it's a consistency, and it's a tightening of protection of margins because you're getting accurate numbers every single time.
Mm, mm. So important. You got to be on the ball. You can't miss your opportunity to show up. One missed opportunity is too many missed opportunities. Like you were saying, if your car doesn't start 2 or 3 times a week, you don't just kind of keep driving that truck. Eventually, you're gonna have to do something about it. You
Right.
know.
Get a new battery, maybe go get a new truck, whatever. If a tool's not working, we go get something new, especially if that tool is impacting our business. And going back to the title of this podcast, measurements are the basis of revenue for all contractors. You can't quote a job if you don't know how big the roof is. You can't order materials efficiently if you don't know how big the roof is. So measurements, you can have a fantastic sales team, but if the sales team isn't getting commissions because the jobs aren't profitable, sales team's going to go to the next guy. You can have fantastic crews, but if the crews are delayed every day because not enough materials are on the roof, crew's going to leave you. You can have the best marketing team in the world, but if you've got a bunch of reviews that your process isn't streamlined and there's hiccups all the way, you're doing work on a homeowner's most valuable asset. They're going to look elsewhere. So this is the basis. This is the building blocks of a streamlined, credible business, is having accurate, consistent measurements that work every single time.
Very so true. So true. So talk to me about tree coverage.
Yeah.
How does Scope Technologies deal with that? Because I have firsthand struggled with that. How does Scope Technology and RoofScope deal with the tree coverage situation?
Yeah, so a little bit of secret sauce in here, so I can tell you what I can tell you, but again, it comes back to humans. AI gets one image that they look at, and if the obstructed view reaches a certain threshold, it kicks it back. And from my side of the industry, what I hear and what I see is that depending on the provider you're using, that threshold is different. Some providers kick back, we call it, more often than others. Others make attempts, sometimes get it wrong because AI, again, the assumption capabilities of AI just aren't quite there yet. The fact is we're putting a human brain on it, and we're solving problems all day long. That's what our brains are designed to do. That's why we are who we are and what we are. And enabling an engineering brain and giving them the tools to look at a structure from different angles, different images, and maybe on image 1 we can't see the north elevation of the house, but on image 2 we can, but we can't see the south elevation. A human is able to put those two together and trace an accurate depiction of that roof. So it really comes back to the human element of how we get our drawings done.
Wow. So it sounds like for the most accurate measurements, Scope Technologies and RoofScope is the way to go.
Absolutely, accuracy is one of our pillars, but I really think it's the consistency, because there are, I would be wrong to say that nobody else is able to deliver accurate measurements. There's easy roofs out there. There's no trees, and you can look down. Everybody can get the scale, and we can do this. And AI is very powerful, but it's that consistency of delivering accurate results, and the ability that, hey, if this house is so far out in the sticks, it's got trees all over it, there's very limited imagery in this case, we're still going to be able to deliver a report that the contractor can take out to their first interaction with the homeowner and really elevate their presentation to the homeowner, but maybe they see, hey, RoofScope, you missed something in the back here. Take a picture of it, send it to us. By the time you're back in the office, you've got an updated report and you're ready to fire off that quote to the homeowner. And you didn't miss a step that whole way. You've got something again in hand to show up to. You're not showing up and saying, "Hey, sorry, Mr. Homeowner, I've got to hand measure this one. My technology didn't work today."
Mm, mm,
That just kind of sets that bar just a little bit lower on that first interaction. And the roofing market, siding market, gutter market, whatever type of contractor you are, super competitive. So
mhm,
anything that you can do as a contractor to put yourself up there on the tallest pedestal you can is going to help you win more jobs.
100%. Homeowners are buyers, consumers, all of us, for all buyers and consumers, right? We all want the stars to align. We want it to be streamlined. We want it to be painless. We want it to be easy. And if we're able to create that process very and keep it very smooth, homeowners are going to be more likely to pull the trigger and work with
Absolutely.
us. Because
Absolutely.
if this process is this streamlined, then the install and the follow up and the rest of this is going to be streamlined. It's how perception's reality, and how you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. So for Christian contractors listening in right now, if you're not already using RoofScope or Scope Technologies, check them out. Zach, final question for today. What gets you excited about the future? What future are you building toward that excites you the most?
Yeah, so I think I started out by saying that Scope Technologies has really become a total solutions provider. So our initial product, our flagship product that a lot of people know us by is RoofScope, but we are kind of in this transition phase where Scope Technologies is becoming the brand that we're known by. A lot of that started with the release of our Scope API 2.0 earlier this year. Scope API 2.0 is basically how we integrate with other technology partners in the space, and again, how we continue to streamline this roofing sales process, siding sales process, exterior contracting sales process, and operations process. So with Scope API 2.0, we are now the first aerial measurement provider to provide data for the entire building envelope through API integration. So, our focus this year is really going to be integration, integration, integration. How many different corners of the industry can we touch and can we streamline by integrating with tools that contractors are already using. So a couple big ones that have happened this year is Zuper, Proline, AccuLynx. We've got a long list of additional integrations that are coming, and so I mean, what we're building here is really the data layer into everything else that contractors have to do. They're all wearing a million hats, and all these different technologies help them take a hat off at a time. And we are the data layer that fits into every single one of those tools to, again, put that basis of revenue generation at their fingertips.
Wow, I'm excited. I'm excited for those integrations to be rolled out more and more. Some of the names that you dropped just there gets me super excited, and I can anticipate that's going to make everything even more streamlined. So we're gonna have to talk more about that, because that's a whole other
Yeah.
conversation. But that's awesome. Everybody, check them out. Scope Technologies, RoofScope, and more importantly, yeah, Scope Technologies, because that's the brand that's expanding and becoming the leader in the space. So I love that. Zach, awesome. Where can people find Scope Technologies?
Yeah, so after that big speech on we're kind of transitioning to Scope Technologies, roofscope.com is the easiest. Everybody remembers it, so roofscope.com. And then Brandon, I had sent you a link. I don't know if we can post it in the description of this podcast, but all of your listeners, we're providing a free measurement report too, just for entering some information. It'll drop some free credits in their account, and just for being a listener of the Christian Contractor podcast, they'll get a free report from us so they can try us out. What I always say is try us out on that one that already declined. Try us out on your own house so you can verify, but really, put us to the test. We deliver reports that nobody else can. We can measure structures that nobody else can. So put us to the test, use that free report, and see what we can do.
Amazing. Amazing. Hear that, everybody? We're going to free measurement report credit for being a listener here. Try it on a decline, try it on your own house, put them to the test. Come on, guys, let's do it. I'm excited. We'll drop that link in the description of the podcast. Thank you so much, Zach. I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah,
And
thanks for having me.
thank you so much for everybody tuning in to listen in to the Christian Contractor Podcast. I'm Brandon Guthrie with Dream Design Labs. If you're a Christian contractor that wants to take territory in God's name, learn how we do just that at go.dreamdesignlabs.com/apply. Check it out. It's free, and I guarantee you'll get great value from the content. Remember, marketing doesn't have to be hard. All you need is the right tools and the right heart to serve. Till next time, stay blessed. Zach, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Brandon.